What if I told you that every time you start over, you're actually making it harder to stay consistent? Sounds backwards, doesn't it? Most people think they have a motivation problem. They wait for Monday, they wait for a new month, they wait until they feel ready, and every time they lose momentum, they promise themselves they'll start again. But that's exactly why they never change. Here's the strange part. The people who stay consistent aren't stronger than you. They aren't more disciplined. In fact, many of them feel just as lazy, tired, and distracted as everyone else. The difference is they're playing a completely different game. And once you understand that game, consistency stops feeling like a battle you have to win every day. By the end of this video, you'll probably realize that the advice you've been following for years is the very thing keeping you stuck. So before you decide that you're just not a consistent person, give me the next few minutes. It might completely change the way you think about discipline forever. Have you ever noticed that the hardest part isn't starting? It's starting again? Think about it. Most people don't fail because they never begin. They fail because they keep beginning over and over. They get excited on Monday, promise themselves that this time will be different, and for a few days, everything feels easy. They wake up early, eat better, go to the gym, study, work on their goals, whatever they've been putting off. Then one busy day happens. They miss a workout, skip a study session, order fast food, sleep in, and suddenly, one small mistake turns into a week. A week turns into a month. Before they know it, they're back at the exact same place, waiting for another perfect time to start. Maybe next Monday, maybe next month, maybe after the holidays, maybe when life gets less busy. It becomes an endless cycle of fresh starts. The strange part is that every new beginning feels full of hope. You genuinely believe you've finally figured it out. You buy a new notebook, download a new app, watch another motivational video, create another plan. But if you've made the same promise to yourself 10 different times, maybe the problem isn't your effort. Maybe it's the way you've been taught to think about consistency. Because we've been told that every setback means it's time to start over. What if that's the biggest mistake of all? What if the people who stay consistent aren't better because they never fail? They're better because they never think they have to start from zero again. And that single difference changes everything. The reason most people can't stay consistent isn't because they are lazy. It isn't because they don't have dreams. And it definitely isn't because they don't know what they should do. Most people already know the basics. They know they should exercise. They know they should learn new skills. They know they should save money. They know they should spend less time scrolling and more time building something meaningful. The information is not the problem. The real enemy is the gap between what you know and what you repeatedly do. And this gap exists because most people depend on the wrong thing. They depend on how they feel. When they feel excited, they take action. When they feel confident, they make progress. When they feel inspired, they believe they can change their life. But what happens when those feelings disappear? They stop. This is where most people misunderstand consistency. They think consistent people are people who always feel ready, focused, and motivated. But that's not true. The people who achieve their goals also have bad days. They also feel tired. They also have moments where they don't want to do the work. The difference is, they don't let every emotion control their actions. They built a way to keep moving even when motivation is gone. Because motivation is temporary. Your feelings change every day. But your system is what decides whether you continue or quit. And until you stop relying on motivation and start building a system, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Start, stop, and start again. The biggest mistake people make is thinking motivation is the fuel that creates success. They believe successful people wake up every morning feeling unstoppable. They imagine disciplined people are always excited, always focused, and always ready to attack their goals. But that's not reality. Motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it cannot keep the fire burning forever. Think about the last time you felt extremely motivated. Maybe you watched an inspiring video. Maybe you saw someone else's success and suddenly felt like changing your life. In that moment, you felt powerful. You made plans. You promised yourself that things would finally be different. But then a few days passed. The excitement faded. The emotions became normal again. And suddenly, the same actions that felt easy before started feeling difficult. This is where most people make a dangerous mistake. They think, I lost my motivation, so I must not really want it badly enough. But losing motivation doesn't mean you don't care. It simply means you're human. Your brain naturally looks for comfort. It prefers easy choices over difficult ones. It wants the reward without always wanting the effort that comes before it. There is another reason why people keep starting over. They are trying to change their actions without changing the way they see themselves. They say things like, I want to go to the gym. I want to read more books. I want to become more disciplined. But deep down, they still see themselves as someone who is inconsistent, someone who always quits, someone who never finishes what they start. And this creates a hidden battle inside your mind, because every action you take is a vote for the person you believe you are. When you skip something important, your brain collects evidence that says, see, this is who you are. But when you show up, even in small ways, you create new evidence. You start proving to yourself, I am someone who keeps promises to myself. This is why small actions matter more than people realize. A person who reads one page every day is not just reading a page. They are building the identity of someone who learns. A person who does 5 minutes of exercise is not just burning calories. They are becoming someone who takes care of their body. The mistake most people make is waiting to become disciplined before they act. But discipline doesn't come first. The actions come first. The identity follows. You don't become consistent because you suddenly become a different person. You become a different person because you repeatedly prove through your actions that you can trust yourself. And once you understand this, the goal is no longer to chase perfect results. The goal becomes something much more powerful. Become the type of person who never abandons themselves. Now let's talk about the system that makes consistency easier. Step 1. Make it impossible to fail. Most people fail because they start too big. They try to completely change their life overnight. They create a plan that looks impressive, but is impossible to maintain. The problem isn't that they lack ambition. The problem is they make the first step too difficult. Instead, make the habit so small that your brain has no reason to resist. 5 minutes of exercise, 1 page of reading, 10 minutes of learning. The goal at the beginning isn't huge progress. The goal is proving to yourself that you can show up. Step 2. Remove the need for willpower. Willpower is unreliable. Some days you feel focused, some days you don't. So stop depending on making the right decision every single day. Create a simple rule. Same time, same place, same action. When something becomes part of your routine, you don't have to fight yourself every time. You don't think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. That's how your habits should feel. Step 3. Never miss twice. Everyone makes mistakes. Even consistent people have bad days. The difference is they don't allow one bad day to become a bad month. Missing once is normal. Missing twice is where the pattern starts. If you fall off track, don't wait for the perfect moment to return. Get back as quickly as possible. Step 4. Track the person you are becoming. Most people only focus on results. They ask, how much weight did I lose? Or how much progress did I make? But real consistency comes from focusing on identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you are someone who follows through. And over time, those small proofs create a person who no longer needs motivation to stay consistent. Because consistency isn't about never failing. It's about building a system that helps you return every time you do. There is another hidden reason why so many people struggle with consistency. They are addicted to the feeling of starting. Think about it. Starting something new feels exciting. A new goal, a new plan, a new version of yourself that you imagine becoming. For a moment, you feel like everything is possible. But the problem is, starting gives you an emotional reward without requiring much effort. You can imagine success before doing the difficult work that creates success. And this is where many people get stuck. They keep chasing the excitement of a fresh start instead of building the patience required to finish. They collect plans instead of results. They watch motivation videos instead of taking action. They constantly search for a better method instead of mastering one simple system. The truth is, the middle part is where most people quit. The middle is not exciting. It's repeating the same actions when nobody is watching. It's showing up when there is no immediate reward. It's doing the boring things that slowly create an extraordinary life. But this is exactly where growth happens. Because success isn't built during moments of excitement. It's built during the ordinary days when you choose to continue. The person who can stay consistent after the excitement disappears will always beat the person who only works when they feel inspired. The goal is not to love every moment of the process. The goal is to become someone who keeps going anyway. At the end of the day, consistency is not about becoming a person who never struggles. It's not about waking up every morning with unlimited energy, perfect focus, and zero distractions. That's not how real life works. Consistency is about creating a system that helps you keep moving even when life gets difficult. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another fresh start. You don't need to wait for the perfect Monday, the perfect month, or the perfect moment. You just need to make one decision. Stop starting over. Start building. Every small action you repeat is a message to yourself. This is who I am now. And one day, you'll look back and realize the person you wanted to become wasn't created by one big transformation. It was created by hundreds of small promises you kept when nobody was watching. If this video changed the way you think about consistency, hit the like button because it helps this message reach more people who need it. And subscribe if you want more videos about discipline, self-improvement, and becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, motivation can start the journey, but your system is what gets you to the destination.